Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for all the customers and participants joining us across the world. Thank you for joining this event sponsored by Microsoft and Intel. My name is Howard Lowe. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at DataON. Really excited to be here today, especially sharing with you guys our experience with all the customers that has made the journey to hybrid cloud with DataON. Today, our focus area really is around retail and branch locations with hybrid cloud and how we, for the last 10 years, been helping our enterprise customer modernize their IT, especially at the edge, where we really believe the solution delivered by Microsoft with Azure Stack HCI is really the true, a really great stack for our customers as they continue to move workloads to the edge, especially in the retail branch office environment. Today, I'm going to kind of go through the background about what we see in the marketplace and why we believe this technology is really good for retail. Talk a bit about the technology itself. A lot of you might not know what Azure Stack HCI is, and we'll kind of touch upon that a little bit. And the last one really is who DataON is and the value we deliver to our customer as we work closely with our partners, like Microsoft and Intel, to continue to innovate and to continue to optimize workloads at the edge for our customer. To start off with, I think it's very important to understand that many of our customers and retail customer in the call today and listening, there's definitely a push and transformation to continue to go digital. Whether or not that's helping customer to do e-commerce, whether or not is looking at specific retail environment on premises, but the expectation of continue to serve your customer closer to the experience and deliver seamless performance is one of the critical driving factors. And you'll see many things on this slide that the growth of these digital first mindset is definitely driving the adoption of putting more and more of a computing at the edge and deliver that solution. As many of you may know, Microsoft Azure is one of the premier and largest cloud provider in the world, but not just cloud, but deliver services, deliver application, deliver workloads to allow retailers to leverage the power and harness the power of cloud to deliver experience to their customer. And over 94% of Fortune 500 retailer today uses Microsoft Azure. That's astounding, and that's something that we need to really understand, that there are many solutions out there, and the customer are choosing Microsoft as their preferred vendor. But as we continue to grow this cloud strategy, we're learning that not just a single cloud is the key solution. We need to give customer choices. We need to give choices that not only you could go to cloud, but you could go to multiple clouds out there that allows you to deliver the solution for you. But we also recognize the fact that not every single enterprise customer or retailer like yourself will go to cloud right away. There is a journey that today maybe some workload is good for the cloud and you're moving the workload to the cloud. But there may also be opportunity where you cannot put all your workload in the cloud because you need the latencies. You need the data sovereignties. You need to make sure you have performance at the edge. As a result, you still need to have applications and workloads staying locally to deliver the experience that your customer want. Because of that, many enterprises need to have a great solution or great path as they continue this journey from on-premises to the cloud, and we believe hybrid is the way to go. And hybrid is important because there are still many existing legacy 3-tier architectures in the edge that require specific optimization. There are still challenges if you're related to customer data, government agency, the regulations and sovereignties, security, that you need to make sure the data stays local to you. And more importantly, is making sure that as you go through these data modernization process, you have the right path for yourself and your company, but also with the mind of the customers. With the introduction of Azure Stack HCI and the fact that Arc as a multi-cloud strategy, we believe this technology will absolutely become transformational to help the retailer deliver the solution for you. One, having this solution called Azure Stack HCI with Arc, you could innovate and be ready for the future. You could continue to take your data strategy and make sure that you have a single source to support those data. But more importantly, there is a security aspect of it to make sure that as you continue to take on this journey, you could really bridge on-premises cloud seamlessly with a hybrid environment. Azure is definitely the direction that many of our customers are going. If you look at Azure for retail, I think it's important to understand that you really have a choice to deliver that solution in a hybrid mode. What that means is, number one, you could take a lot of Azure services and move it to on-premise to allow you to run those workloads at the edge in your retail store, in your branch office, remote offices, to deliver that experience that your customer want. But more importantly, with Azure Stack HCI, now you can really modernize your edge infrastructure to make the best solution possible. And as we talk about Azure Stack HCI as a hybrid cloud infrastructure, you will understand and learn that the capability of this infrastructure stack is enormous. Not only are you running your virtualized workload on premises, but more importantly, with the fact that Azure Stack HCI is delivered as a service through Azure, you really can harness all of the capability that Azure really delivers to you as a hybrid service. As you continue to run these workloads along the edge, you'll understand that you don't have to buy a lot of infrastructure. With Azure Stack HCI, you can really scale your solution from a multi-node, 2-node, 3-node to multi-node strategy and really deliver a solution that's very cost-effective, but still deliver the performance you want. These performance required because you are running databases on the edge, like SQL workloads and across the board, and having this workload at the edge really require a great high availability solution. But more importantly, what we're talking about here is that by having Azure Stack HCI, you now have the ability to take a lot of Azure workload and integrate seamlessly with your on-premises platform. That could be managed SQL services. That could be AI, ML. That could be running Azure Virtual Desktop, VDIs in your retail environment. All these are proven technology and services that Microsoft has deployed in Azure, but now with the deployment of Azure Stack HCI in your data center, on your edge, in your remote and branch offices, you could take advantage and harness the power of Azure and really run it in the edge and deliver that solution. That's the beauty of Azure Stack HCI, and that's the beauty of hybrid cloud that we're talking about today. As we continue to look at Azure Stack HCI and how it really delivers benefits to the retail location, you'll see more and more capability that is a foundational requirement for the retail customer. One, security. You got to make sure when you have the infrastructure locally on the edge, they're secure. With Xeon Gen 3 processor launched by Intel and integration with Microsoft Azure Stack HCI, all the infrastructure today delivered by DataON and our partners are secure core ready. What that means is the server has security from the root of trust. They will protect your infrastructure from the bottom up on the BIOS to make sure you don't get hacked by ransomware. Second is real ability to start small and expand as you need in your branch office and edge and retail. Now today, with Azure Stack HCI, you can start a deployment as small as 2 nodes. With 2 nodes, you could have high availability, you can have a no failure, and still continue to run your application on the edge. But if you need to expand that workload capability because you're growing, you need more application, you're running more horsepower, you can scale that 2 node from 2 to 16 nodes and even stretch the stretch cluster to other locations to provide that business continuity, disaster recovery capability. So the scalability aspect of Azure Stack HCI really helps customers to start small but really grow into your workload. As we said, Azure Stack HCI is delivered as an Azure service. What that means is all the workload applications in Azure can be delivered as a service on-premise from Azure Marketplace. That's very powerful because you now have a choice of running your workload either in the cloud or on-premises in your edge and retail branch stores while still harnessing the capability of Azure. Lastly, with the integration with Azure Portal, now you could move your virtual machines, your virtual servers, your workload up and down from hybrid on-premises to Azure seamlessly. With the ability to even manage your virtual machine as a single control plane from Arc, where you could create a virtual machine and push it down to your edge and retail branch offices, move it back to make sure you have that seamless capability. That is a very powerful hybrid cloud value proposition that all the retail customers really need to embrace as we move forward. If you look at a high level today with Azure Stack HCI, it's been around for a long time. For those who doesn't know, the concept of software-defined storage, software-defined networking, virtualization really started 10 years ago with Microsoft when they introduced Windows Server 2012, when they had storage spaces. But as we continue to grow, this concept of hybrid becomes more compelling. Not only are we modernizing your archaic and traditional SAN workload, we're now delivering a complete stack to help the customers. We have validations across Microsoft. I think DataON has the most validated solution today on the Azure catalog. We have solution from a small form factor workstation called Kepler 47 G2. We have a single node rack server, 2U rack server. We have multi-node solutions. So you can see as we continue to build out the stack, you will see solutions stack across. Then you can lay on top of it your virtual machine or Azure Kubernetes services. Using container as a way to modernize your workload, you can now do AI, ML, to do machine learning. You could do inferencing at the edge to really start tracking the behavior of the purchase criteria for your customer retail and send that back as you process at the edge and send it back to cloud and do additional inferencing. Those are very powerful tools that really delivered by Microsoft Azure to allow a retailer like yourself to have that capability. As we deploy the hybrid cloud into your infrastructure, you will understand there are many, many control planes. You have your physical infrastructure running your workload on premises, but at the same time, you're harnessing all the Azure cloud capability, whether or not it's a single control plane with Azure Arc, whether or not it's monitoring your nodes for Azure Monitor, whether or not it's delivering single policy that will really transition all your retail store at a single click of button because you have a policy in place and it's an Azure service delivered to all your 1,000 retail stores. These are capabilities that only could deliver because that integration and seamless transition as a hybrid cloud between on-premise and Azure. At the same time, you could take care of all the Azure services today, whether or not it's backing up your data, doing your site recovery for DR, whether or not it's replicating your storage, whether or not it's syncing your files seamlessly between on-premise and Azure. You can see the capability of these services is endless, and this is why Azure is really the place to go as you continue to innovate for your retail edge. So that's a really big background on why we believe the journey with Microsoft is really the right direction, why Microsoft Azure really is in the forefront of delivering this multi-cloud, hybrid cloud solution for our customers, and we really have embraced that. DataON, as a company, is based in Southern California. We're a technology company at heart for the last 35 years. We made the Microsoft choice 10 years ago when Microsoft first introduced the software-defined storage stack, and we have not looked back. And continue in this 10-year journey with Microsoft, we continue to help other customers, including many, many retail customers, to make the Microsoft choice because we believe Microsoft has a technology and continue to innovate with the solution to deliver the right choice for the customer. As a company, the software piece of it that wrap around the experience of storage, software-defined networking, virtualization, and the hybrid cloud infrastructure are brought to us by Microsoft. As an exclusive Microsoft partner, we continue to make sure that our capability as a vendor, as a hybrid cloud vendor, is optimized with all the solution. For the last 35 years, and especially last 10 years, we have modernized over 1,000 enterprise customers and modernized their IT to hybrid cloud. By delivering on-premises infrastructure, we need to still have hardware. We're not a manufacturer. In fact, we focus on delivering solution by picking the best hardware server in the marketplace, and that is Intel. Intel actually is the OEM vendor that delivers the server. They built server for a company like DataON. They're the ones doing the validation, the chassis, the power supplies, the SSD, the cables, the CPUs, the memory. All of them are architected and delivered by Intel as a complete solution to DataON. And DataON takes that hardware infrastructure and go through a very rigorous application, validation, certification with Microsoft to ensure that when we deliver the Azure Stack HCI solution, it has the best experience for our customers. Clearly, on top of this two software and hardware stack, DataON wants to add value. Our value is the ability for you guys to monitor and manage your infrastructure at the edge seamlessly to a single pane of glass. Whether or not it's to Arc, Admin Center, or Must Pro extension, you now have a single way of managing entire infrastructure seamlessly and have visibility into every component of the hardware all the way down to the drive. Given the fact that we spend so much time on validating this infrastructure, we have the most broad portfolio of validated solution. And this portfolio really is designed to make sure we understand your workload and deliver the right solution for you. Lastly, as a hybrid cloud vendor and a cloud service provider, we constantly want to think about what are the cloud services from Azure we can enable to help the customer deliver that solution, as I described earlier. So as a complete vendor hybrid cloud, we want to make sure that we help our customer deliver that solution and go on that journey. And with that journey, we deliver an infrastructure called Azure Stack HCI. We evaluate your solution and your infrastructure to make sure there is business continuity, backup, and DR. We want to make sure we help you monitor and deliver services across the board. As I said earlier, this journey that DataON ventured out with Microsoft really started early in 2012. In 2012, DataON made the Microsoft choice. We were the first to certify. And if we continue this journey down today, 10 years later, we have delivered over 150 petabytes of storage in production today running Windows Server. And we have now over 1,500 Windows cluster deployed on the Microsoft solution. This is really, really exciting for DataON, incredible, because we know the challenge of new technology. And our job is, as we work with our customer and continue to take our customer on that journey, we help our customer to solve problems, right? And now as Microsoft continue to innovate with Azure Stack HCI, now you have Azure services like machine learning, like artificial intelligence at the edge, supporting GPU, supporting container and virtual desktop. These are all exciting services that retailers want to see from DataON and Microsoft, so you can really enable that for your users and deliver the best experience. I don't want to go to this is an eye chart of a really enterprise customer that have made the Microsoft choice with DataON, and then many others. Microsoft has thousands and tens of thousands of customers running Azure Stack HCI today. But just with DataON, you can see that we have customers across segment, whether or not state, local government, whether or not it's education, financial, medical, manufacturing plant, technology company, hosting companies. But more and more, we're seeing customers in retail adopting the solution because they see the opportunity to modernize their solution and really go on this hybrid cloud journey with DataON and Microsoft. And customer includes 1-800-CONTACT, multiple clusters, multiple DR solution. Nordstrom, looking at their stores and retails. 4Imprint is a retail shop. We have Alexander print system. We have Perry Mobile in Canada, have multiple offices and putting 2 nodes at the edge. If you want to learn more about these technology and solution where retail customer and why they make the choice, engage with us. We'll share that experience with you one by one, and you see which one really fits you very well. Not only DataON is telling the world that this is a really great solution with Azure Stack HCI and hybrid cloud, but you can see that industry is recognizing it as well. With the Microsoft being visionary in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, this is important because it says that industry analysts is recognizing the technology. More importantly, as you take the solution and put it head-to-head with the best of the best in the world, you'll see that Microsoft always comes on top. They were recognized recently as the Editor Choice Award for Storage Review and Product of the Year. These are very incredible accolades that deliver that solution. And we're proud to be part of that ecosystem along with Microsoft, where both of these reviews were done with DataON infrastructure validated for Azure Stack HCI. So we're really excited to continue this journey with Microsoft and deliver the solution. So what does hybrid cloud journey looks like? I think it's important to understand this journey really starts with the fact that as a retailer, as a decision maker, you need to look at what is the word hybrid means. You can see that in the cloud infrastructure continue to grow, but more importantly, there's still a customer that looks at how to bridge that gap, right? First, you need to make sure you understand the application workload in retail and how those workloads can take advantage of all the edge AI and VDI capability that Microsoft delivers. You still have legacy apps. We understand you cannot just click a button and everything transition. You still have a lot of legacy apps and infrastructure that requires the data to sit on premises, especially with the retail environment. How do you manage those apps? How do you consolidate these applications? Do we use container or do we use VMs? These are good, great questions to ask yourself. But most importantly, with the advent and Azure Stack HCI being an Azure service, now you can really truly leverage this infrastructure and hybrid cloud strategy to deliver the service and solution you want to your customer anytime, anywhere. Because you have a choice. You don't just have to deploy a server on premise in your data center. You don't have to go all in with cloud. But you have a choice of hybrid where you could decide where the workload runs, where the data resides, where the security is to ensure you have the best solution. And that's the hybrid cloud journey we've been working with our customer. And this journey really includes having the ability to see multi-cloud with Azure Arc, having the ability to control your data governance and compliances across the stack. As we talk to customer, we see that there are many benefits why they choose Azure for hybrid services. I think it's important to understand that Azure as a holistic cloud really delivers the benefits today already with the innovation and governance they have. As we move forward with Azure Stack HCI, you can harness those capabilities and really deliver that solution. With Azure Stack HCI, with Azure Stack, you really have 3 choices today. The majority of the focus today and the majority of our customer focus is really on the Azure Stack HCI, which is really an infrastructure that modernizes subscription with flexible and familiar hyper-converged infrastructure, right? It's delivered as a hybrid service. It's enterprise ready, meaning that all the feature and capability are enterprise in mind, whether or not it's resiliency, whether or not it's performance, whether or not it's scalability, whether or not it's security. Microsoft, for the last 10 years, ensured that the solution stack we deliver is enterprise scale and ready as we go. But more importantly, because Microsoft Windows Server has been in the marketplace for the last 20 years, a lot of management and operation capability are something admins are very familiar with. So as you move to Azure Stack HCI, there isn't a very steep learning curve for admins. Clearly, the portfolio is bigger than just Azure Stack HCI. You have Azure Stack Edge, which is really a Azure compute in the edge, and Azure Stack Hub really is a disconnected scenario where you take Azure service into on-premises. But more importantly, as any technology, we need to make sure we give you choice. A choice that you could choose Azure Stack HCI Windows Server, which many customers will choose as they look at feature and capabilities. And if you compare the differences, you'll see that Azure Stack HCI, where the direction of innovation is from Microsoft, continue to shine. With Azure Stack HCI, you have the ability to have Azure Edition, where you can move VM up and down from the cloud. You have the ability to have free ESU and security patches for SQL and end of life cycle product for Windows Server. You have the ability now to run Azure Virtual Desktop on Azure Stack HCI, where today is only available in Azure. You have the ability to run GPU capability. We can now design graphic controller into the Azure Stack HCI. When you do a maintenance, the ability to do soft kernel reboot, which is 10 times faster than booting a server today, because they got rid of a lot of other archaic processes. You have the ability to set up your infrastructure with ATC, which is really an intent-driven cluster storage. You have the ability to do SIM provisioning. You could do stretch cluster across the board. You could do secure core server. So you get the idea that as Microsoft continue this journey, you will get more and more features across what you need to do for your customers. And as Azure hybrid by design, it means that you can monitor and manage Azure Stack as a service to ensure you have that single pane of glass. When Microsoft designed a solution for Azure Stack HCI, they absolutely have this enterprise scale and price performance in mind. I think 2 years ago, COVID, I think, is absolutely, hopefully, behind us. Microsoft did a benchmark at Ignite, and they shattered the previous benchmark of like 3 million IOPS to 13.3 million IOPS. I have no idea any customer needs 13.3 million IOPS on the edge, but just imagine you have the capability to deliver the solution and performance you want at the edge as you need it. And these are all high available and they are capable. When Microsoft delivered the solution, they want to make sure all the admin, IT, all the director who's managing the system doesn't have a steep learning curve. That's why a lot of tools they use in Azure Stack HCI is something familiar with our customer and for yourself. Lastly, in terms of workload, I talked about earlier, you can run security, you can have SQL databases, you can have edge, remote offices, but more importantly, you have the ability to harness all the capability of Azure. So a little bit about DataON. DataON being an exclusive Microsoft vendor, we clearly have spent a lot of time understanding the technology and solution to make sure we're the right solution. I think this is important to know that when Microsoft made a commitment to deliver Azure Stack HCI for their enterprise customer and retail at the edge, they made a commitment to make sure that when a customer chooses Azure Stack HCI, they have a choice to deliver a solution as a validated solution, which is what we saw for the last 10 years, but more importantly, a choice to pick a solution that is fully integrated and can deliver like an appliance. And that appliance experience is a solution today we call integrated systems for Azure Stack HCI. Why is that important? Why is integrated system important? Integrated systems important because for the last 10 years, we understand the pain point of system admins. We understand why they had to stay up at night to manage the infrastructure. We want to help them to focus on running their applications versus manage the day-to-day infrastructure stack. As a result, integrated systems deliver those capabilities. Not only is it easy to procure and easy to deploy, that DataON provide that white glove service where we go in and really deliver the A to Z of the solution. But more importantly, it delivers the reliability. The solution that with integrated system is continuously tested with DataON and Microsoft in their lab to make sure the latest BIOS firmware, all the latest Windows patches are tested before it goes out to our customer with integrated system. Security, with Secure Core Xeon Gen 3, now you have real trust across your solution. But more importantly, support. With integrated system, you now have both DataON and Microsoft as your support organization, because our support are now tied in the backend to provide that case exchange capability to make sure that we have the right support. So when you pick up the call, whether or not you call DataON, whether or not you call Microsoft, you will get the same level of experience to make sure someone help you resolve your issues, because we're our same team. Lastly, I think is a very critical piece of integrated system, and DataON spent the last 1 year making sure we had that solution in place, is the ability to do hassle-free maintenance. What that means is you now could do full stack integration, updates, upgrade with your integrated system through the Windows Admin Center extension with the cluster-aware update. DataON Must, which is a software we've been delivering since 2016, allows you to monitor your infrastructure. But with DataON Must Pro, now with integration with the cluster-aware update in Azure Stack HCI OS and for integrated system, now you can now do the BIOS firmware driver update for your motherboard, your chipset, your NICs, your drives seamlessly to the latest level of firmware driver without you having to go worry about taking the node down, staying up at night, 1 a.m. on Saturday, which I've done many times to ensure everything's seamless. Everything is done in the background. And once everything is tested and validated in the flow, a quick update will happen, and now all the systems up to date. That is really a game changer for a lot of our customer admin who continue to innovate, and they want to choose integrated system for Azure Stack HCI. You can see that for integrated system, we really limit the number because we want to make sure we deliver the highest reliability and delivery. We have a 1U called AZS 6112, which is a 1U server. You can expand that to a 2 node to 16 node, but really it's for the edge, for areas where you have a small environment, you have a less space constraint, you want to have a 1U solution, but still deliver the performance you need. We have a DataON AZS 6212 with a hybrid solution, which is the ability for you to really get capacity while having cache. As you know, Microsoft solution, Azure Stack HCI, you could deliver the configuration of storage, whether or not as all flat NVMe, all SSD, or as a hybrid, where you have a cache plus hard drive, where now you can get capacity where the hard drive really is doing storage, all the cache there is doing all the processing, given all the rewrite workload for Azure Stack HCI for all your workload goes to the cache first. So having a hybrid really help you deliver that performance in storage you need across the board. Lastly, our flagship product, which is a TU, most dense, highest performance, highest IOPS solution out there called AZS 6224 with the Xeon Gen 3 processor, with a 100 gig network, with 2 terabytes of RAM, with 24 cores, Intel up to 48 cores, with RDMA, with NVMe SSD. Now you can deliver the best performing solution in the marketplace and run your most critical workloads and still have a peace of mind. With the Must and Must Pro, as I talked earlier, it's an extension plug into Microsoft. Now you have the ability to see hardware disk mapping. You can deliver alerts. If there's an issue, you'll get an email alert to your email or your mobile app to make sure your system is up to date. And you can take action on it. And now you can integrate that to Azure Monitor if you want to have that single pane of glass. With Must Pro, you now can set up, see inventory, validation. You start with a snapping setup. You do an inventory check to make sure everything's up to date. The one that you want to update, you click it. Then you do the validation, and the CA, you do the orchestration. Now everything's complete. Now with a single click, you can now update your entire infrastructure, the hardware piece of it and the software piece of it, through Must Pro and cluster-aware update. This is really important. DataON's been doing this for the last 10 years, and our value is really in our white glove service. Our value is really in our knowledge. Our value is absolutely in the fact that we care about customer. When we engage with the customer, we start with a planning phase. Understanding your workload. If you're a retail, what are the constraints? Is it networking? Is it space? Is it a workload? Is it the application? Is it the integration? Understanding what you need. Designing the right solution for you. for your workload. 1 node, 2 nodes, 16 nodes, whatever the solution you need across the board. Work with you to make sure before we go in there, we do a pre-deployment setup. We do a pre-deployment analysis. We do a benchmark to make sure it runs your application. We help you deploy. We help you deploy across your infrastructure, whether or not remotely or whether or not it's on-site. We want to make sure when we deploy the solution, you understand how the deployment happens, and you can manage it if you need to. Support and warranty. DataON deliver the best premium support and warranty along with Microsoft, 3 to 5 years and more, 24/7, around-the-clock support. All our support engineers are Microsoft certified. We know Azure Stack HCI. We know how to solve the problem. We are that single contact you call when you have any issue. That's the value of DataON. That's the value of world-class support for Microsoft Azure Stack HCI. There are many customers out there, and I can't go through all of them. Trident Seafood is a great customer of ours. They have 2 nodes across 13, 18 sites, even including in the ship, where they have 2 node Azure Stack HCI running at the edge. We have a molded fiberglass manufacturing, running remote offices, branch offices in their manufacturing plant with 2 nodes, running Hyper-V and running databases. We have customer Flint Hydraulics using Optane, Intel Optane for the optimization of processing, 3D modeling of their systems. So you can see that Azure Stack HCI for branch office, edge, and retail is real. These are just a sample customer across industry that has deployed 2 nodes across their infrastructure to run their workload. Whether or not it's Hyper-V, whether or not it's SQL application, whether or not syncing the file for Azure, whether or not it's AI, ML in the edge, all this is happening today. As we get to the technology piece of it, it's important to understand, as you have all these hybrid services running in your application, you need to make sure that your infrastructure is running its optimized form. DataON being an exclusive Intel vendor, we want to make sure the solution stack that we deliver for you take advantage of all the capability of x86 hardware infrastructure innovation, starting out with the latest processor from Intel, which is the Xeon Gen 3 processor. It's built in with AI acceleration, its ability to scale to 48 cores, its ability, the platform to go to 2 terabyte of 3200 RAM. Your capabilities right there with the Xeon Gen 3. Second is really the I/O and the memory piece of it. With PCIe Gen 4 coming to Xeon Gen 3 processor, now you have the largest bandwidth across the board with PCIe Gen 4. Whether or not it's for your networking, for SSD across the board, you have the ability to have the highest bandwidth for all your workload application. Cache and storage. Now, for any hyper-converged infrastructure, you need to make sure you have the right infrastructure storage. With DataON and the newest innovation, we allow you to have Optane as a cache. And also, all our solutions for storage are all NVMe's, SSD or QLC, because it's very affordable and because it's the highest performance and reliable platform of media out there. All the solutions are RDMA networking with SMB3 up to 200 gig today. The mainstream is about 10 to 25 gig. It's still a very, very fast performing solution. Security, as I stated many times in our conversation, having a secure core solution is critical for security because it delivers the root of trust, where we are protecting your data from the root of the server. Lastly, management and hybrid cloud integration. Being a Azure Stack HCI, you are looking into hybrid cloud and making sure that that integration management is seamless. Manufactured by Intel, delivered by DataON, as I said earlier, DataON is the vendor that delivers the solution for our customer, but the hardware itself is manufactured by Intel. We have our solution, all our integrated solution across the board to make sure we have the right solution for you. Real customer, if you go to our website today, go to our website, dataonstorage.com. You'll see a customer experience page. You'll see customer use cases, over 60, 80 of them on the website that tells you the story. Why our customer made the Microsoft choice. What were their pain points? Why did they choose DataON Microsoft from the traditional vendors? These are real world use cases that you should definitely look at after today, to look at DataON and our website to see all the experiences they have. For a typical system, if you look at a solution, you could do a 2-node to 4-node to 16 nodes. You can see that's a simple to deploy infrastructure using the latest technology across the board. You have validated node for hybrid, as I spoke to earlier. You could do a 2-node solution with cache plus hard drive. You could deliver over 50 to 100 VM or even containers with over 100 terabyte usable capacity. You could do an all-flash integrated system where you're running the most critical workload, VDI workload, computer warehousing, SQL data workload, and really harness the power of NVMe storage. You could get over 4 million IOPS in a 3-node configuration. This is incredible performance. But at the same time, have that reliability you need. You could do storage. You could do a lot of storage on the edge to store all your video cameras, your files. You could get to 4 petabytes in a single cluster Microsoft supports, which is very critical. So you can see we have a broad portfolio of our Kepler 2-node switchless. Modernize a Kepler 47G2 is a very ideal for a retail solution with a workstation form factor. 2-node 1U, 2-node 2U. So you can know this 2-node Kepler 2-node switchless solution has been a bedrock of a lot of our customers as they look to deploy Azure Stack HCI into a smaller retail environment, remote offices, and edge deployment. We believe having ability for switchless is important because you reduce the cost on switch fabric. You have 2 nodes back-to-back, 25 gig. You still deliver resiliency. Even with the 2 nodes, with a nest and mirror, you could have 1 node that goes down, another disk that goes down. Your customer still stays up with a corner witness. So you do still have resiliency with 2 nodes, which a lot of other vendors do not have. The ability to still deliver remote offices to make sure all the capabilities there. If you look at a 2-node, as I spoke to earlier, you have 2-node back-to-back. You connect it to your core switches, and then you have a core and witness, whether or not it's USB, or you could use that as Azure as a witness. You could deliver that 2-node solution. You could expand 2-node to 3 nodes with the added resiliency. Now you have a server plus drive failure across the board, and have 3-way mirror. So you can see that ability to scale from 2-node, 3-node, across the 6-node is quite easy and seamless with Microsoft Azure Stack HCI solution. We really hope you really get a good understanding today of who we are as DataON and why we believe Microsoft Azure Stack HCI is the right choice for your retail environment. It is the hybrid cloud future. It is the ability to deliver services. And we believe DataON is your choice. As you want to engage, we want to make sure we share with you our journey and all the journey we take on to customer from all the experiences we have. We look forward to the conversation with you. We look forward to engaging with you. And thank you for the opportunity to present. I'm opening up for questions. Okay, I don't see any questions. So guys, feel free to reach out to us. Website is dataonstorage.com. Feel free to engage and just send an email to us. And happy to engage. Again, my name is Howard Lowe. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to engaging with all of you. Have a great day.